Hey, what's up guys? Ken here from the Retro Torrescapades channel in Malaysia. Some heavy duty news over the last few hours. These images of the new MOTU Origins Deluxe Flying Fist HeMan and Terra Skeletor just turned up online. So let's take a moment to talk about them over this Halloween weekend, shall we? First up, the Flying Fist HeMan set, which looks to come stacked with a whole lot of goodies. You get everything that the original set from the 80s came with, both the spinning shield and the spinning three-headed mace weapon, plus you get an extra HeMan head, an alternate hand, plus the power sword. Now, I was looking at this pic and how nice and neat everything looks just laid out like this. And I kind of wish that I had enough space on the display shelf to have each figure displayed neatly with all of their separate accessories in full view. Now, a lot of the new figures come with multiple accessories, even more than the figure can actually hope to hold on to, I think. And sometimes there's just no way for you to display the figure with everything on hand. All right, so you have to put the separate accessories someplace else. And these things sometimes just end up in the box or some other container that you have lying around. Especially when it comes to things like alternate hands, okay? Stuff like the Masterverse series, each figure comes with something like 3 sets of alternate hands, all right? Where do all these hands go when you're not using them, okay? Sometimes it's hard to keep track of them. And like I said, if they're going to end up in a container or something like that, they never really truly get the spotlight that they deserve, all right? So let me know in the comments, okay, what do you guys do with all the multiple separate accessories when you're not putting them up on display? The Flying Fist He-Man is of course one of the first ever Masters of the Universe figures to get the vac metal chromed out treatment back in the 1980s, and it sure did make a shiny difference on the shelves when it first came out. Also, I've been told, I never actually saw any of these figures on shelves in Malaysia when I was growing up. And I only just recently got a vintage Flying Fist He-Man figure for the collection earlier this year. And in fact, I did a review for that one too. So go check it out if you haven't already and help to punch some life back into an older video on the channel. I think it's great how this new Flying Fist set follows the spirit of the original very well, which is a fantastic gift to collectors who would find it impossible to get the 80s version these days. Now, that original set is pretty rare, and even if you did find one complete, it's hard to find it in good shape with all the vac metal bits still intact and not looking like they've been scraped across the floor for years. In the original mini-comic, it's explained that the Flying Fist power that He-Man calls on actually gives him the ability to use his fists in ways that they have never been used before, essentially making them able to punch repeatedly at almost lightning fast speed. So yeah, technically making He-Man able to punch his way out of anything and everything. Okay, so you mean that he couldn't already do that before as the strongest man in the universe? Now, there's a bit of a disconnect here because the toy doesn't have an action feature that allows you to make He-Man punch really fast like his namesake. However, it does give him these new weapons that allow you to spin them around in attack mode when facing the enemy. So, the way that it works is that this dial on the figure's back allows you to move the figure from side to side at the waist really fast, and at the same time makes the weapons in his hands spin about. I also like the fact that He-Man gets the clip on his back that allows you to store the three-headed mace when it's not in use. The original had this one too, but the clip on that was really small and fragile looking, okay? It could pretty much break if you just sneezed too hard. Maybe, okay? It's also almost always missing from loose eBay listings of the figure. But this new clip looks like it's made out of more durable plastic, and that's probably one huge improvement over the original. Also, since the new figure comes with a power sword as well, I wonder if the sword can fit on the back too. Now that would be awesome. He-Man gets the vintage styled head, something that we're seeing a lot more these days in Origins, and at this point it's maybe getting a bit stale, unless they mixed it up a bit. But you know what, it's still nice to see it here. He-Man also gets an all-new angry head that looks like he's shouting, "Yeah!" And also with windswept hair to flow with all that flying fury. And this one actually looks pretty good, I have to say. I mean, it's not fantastic, but it's definitely an improvement over the silly-looking, half-shouting face that came with the Origins Battle Armor He-Man set. I mean, what do you guys think of this expression? Let me know in the comments. Next up, we have the incoming deluxe Terra Skeletor set with a lot of destruction, sporting a pink sports bra. Pink heavily fortified chest armor, a brand new head sculpt that looks actually absolutely stunning, two giant claw attachments, the classic vintage head, an alternate hand, a dragon-headed pincer claw attachment, and the Havoc staff. Whew, that sure is a lot of stuff that you're getting with this Skeletor, my friends. Actually, with so many deadly looking, sharp, offensive weapons like the giant claws and the pincer claw, it's curious that they gave him the Havoc staff too. Perhaps a reshoot power sword with a color variation would have suited the theme better. I'm not sure. But I just felt that the Havoc staff seemed maybe a bit out of place with this assortment, and in fact the original 80s Terra Skeletor set didn't have it either. The weapon attachments that come with the set are all identical to what you got in the 80s. Skeletor gets some super over-the-top and oversized weapons here, and the way that you operate them is similar to how the Flying Fist HeMan set works. Once you get those giant claws hooked onto his arms, there's a dial on the back which you could push to make the claws start slashing up and down in a frenzied motion. The real surprise here, I think, is the newly sculpted head that captures Skeletor in an almost perfect maniacal laugh. This has got to be, hands down, the best Skeletor head that we've seen in all of Origins. It actually looks kind of creepy, And I think that with Origins, they've tried to give the figures some form of added personality with their facial expressions from time to time, and this maybe hasn't always translated across too well, but when they get it right, like what we're seeing here on this new Skeletor head sculpt, man, they get it so right, okay? Okay, guys, so I want to hear your thoughts and comments on the new Flying Fist, HeMan, and Terra Skeletor set. Hit me up in the comment section below. And wherever you are in the world, I hope that you guys are having a great and awesome Halloween weekend. Thank you. I'll catch you guys again real soon.